All right, so I promised I would make two separate videos from May 20th because that was OPEX day. Options were expiring. A lot of monthly contracts were coming through. And so there's just a lot of things to keep in mind when you're actually trading. And one of those is to make sure that you empty your mind. You want to be a bull and a bear in a given day. And so be formless, shapeless, be fluid, right? I'm not going to go ahead and read through the whole quote, but I like to keep this quote because it reminds me of how important it is to be fluid and just to flow with where the market is going at a given time. At about noon on Friday, and so I'll just go through and talk about how this move could have been anticipated for the afternoon. Number one, we're looking for an A plus in our trading, and so we're looking for a trend line break. If this would actually get above this Fibonacci level here, you can see it was struggling with this red line here, the 261.8. If it can get above there, then we are looking at a possible trend break. We're also looking for a Psar change, and we're looking for a confirmation under or over the 20 EMA. So if it would hold above that 20 EMA, then that's looking more and more like a trend break and an A plus setup. And so you can see right here, it's coming back up and it's actually hitting what was an area of support right here. It's hitting that as an area of resistance. So I'm not in a real big rush to get in right now. It takes a little while. It's a big moving ship to actually have this turn around in a given day, but we do have a trend line break. We do have a Psar change, and it is confirming right now above that 20. And so really this is showing us that it has that potential of coming all the way up here to the 161.8 fib. That's a pretty big move from 283 to 286. But right now we're watching because it's not going to just turn around right away. Very rarely are you rewarded for getting in super early on a move. This would have been a painful 20, 25 minutes coming back to this fib right here. But I'm keeping these things in mind. You can see this PSAR actually changed a little bit here. And so we're just showing some sort of consolidation here, some sort of indecision in our day. We are showing a general slow uptrend. We've got a very slow uptrend. And now this right here is where it started to really get my attention because it's coming back and it's retesting this area right again. So I'm on high watch and I can see that there's this wick right above here. And so I am now watching this, and I'm going to be getting some calls in order in case it gets above that line. So let me pause. Having a stop buy order right above this line. If it comes above this line again, it's going to go past this wick. This was an area of resistance, and it was an area of support right here. And so if it comes back above this again, I want to have my stop buys actually right here. And so let's just watch how this comes back, possibly retest that trend line. Yep, there it is. It tested that trend line again. And you can just kind of feel the steam building up. If you want to be really observant here, you can see that this is an actual, let me just change this one to purple here as well, because we have an ascending triangle. It's a small one, but we have an ascending triangle. That's a bullish sign right there. So right here, we've got our stop buys above this line. Let me just keep that hovered right there. Okay, boom, we're in. So let me pause right here and just take a look at these contracts that I use during a day. And I know that some. So let me just show you why I trade the 0 DTE contracts. Right here, you can see this was that 225 where it started to break above right there. This was 11 cents right here. Let's say you got in at 12 or 13 cents. But if you would have gotten in here right there with that stop buy, you didn't get in early because that's a painful wait, but you put a stop buy where it only submits that order if it gets above that, and it happens really fast. Right here, this got above here and it went all the way up to 46 cents. So it went from in 10 minutes. This is a 10-minute candle right here. So that's 309% in just 10 minutes. Now, if you would have taken next week's expiry, that went 29%. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is a 10x difference right here. It's a huge, huge difference to think about. And so is there risk involved in trading 0 DTE contracts? For sure. But I'm not planning on holding overnight anyways. There's just too much that can happen overnight. So there's also, if you have a weekly expiration, there's theta decay. So you're taking on risk holding those contracts overnight anyways. Anything can happen. We've seen that where a gap's down in the morning or a gap's up, and then you're just bulls and bears are really in a tough spot. So this is why I trade these 0 DTEs, and you can kind of see what happened the rest of the time. Why did I sell right here? Let's come back to the day and take a look at why. So let's see here. If you're getting in right here, you need to acknowledge that there's this gap. There's a nice gap right here. There's very little resistance. I have learned to sell right at VWAP because I've seen it reject VWAP and come back down. However, you could have your sell right here at this. It'd be a little risky. We're talking there's only about a half an hour left in the trading there on the day. But up to here, right up to above this VWAP line, right there, that was 309%. It's a massive move. It doesn't mean you have to put a lot of money in on a trade. We're talking a half an hour left in our trading day, but 309% off of a small amount of money is a huge, huge gain. Now, I wanted to make sure I sold there because I've seen it happen where it hits this as a lightning electric fence and it snaps back down. However, there's another thing I'm going to put in here, and that's the actual picture of the RSI on those Nasdaq stocks. Every one of those Nasdaq stocks had a 70 RSI. In fact, many of the semiconductors had an 80 RSI, and I'll show that picture at least of the 70 RSIs. And that gave me confidence to actually get back in and sell up here because there is this gap as well. Now, this is not a fib level. This is a fib level up here. But if we go all the way back to the morning, these lines, keep these lines on your actual chart during the day because you can see right here there was a wick that I wanted to keep this on here, and once it hit that, then it dropped down further. And that was not a Fibonacci level. That was just its own little line of resistance. And so if I'm getting in right here, then I want to make sure that I'm targeting to sell before this line up here. And this ended up becoming a 108% move. I stayed in simply because of the RSI on those actual stocks. And so that's just a really important thing to look at here when you're getting in and out of these moves.